Go. What is going on, guys? It's Yoji, and we're doing a podcast thing, but it's like so laid back that it's not really actually a podcast. It's basically ProjectPT talking with me about things.
Things.
Yeah,
Plenty of things. And that is literally the planning that we have going into this.
Yeah, you can see the script on the screen, which is basically Twitch chat. So we interact with chat and talk about whatever comes to mind, really.
Yeah. So if you want to actually join in the conversation, not being ignored the entire time, we'll randomly read what you say, as long as it's not too racist.
Yep.
Mild racist, fine.
Mild racism is completely okay.
As long as it's against the Mongolians.
Oh, maybe. And I also have a beer, which I probably should open.
Well, I have oranges, so you can have your beer, I'll have oranges, and it's a win-win.
I feel unhealthy now. It's void beer, though, because I'm green screen and it's a green beer bottle.
Ah. See, I have to watch out for that. Actually, non-try-hard racists, clearly.
Yeah. We're not even trying to be racist, but we still managed it somehow.
Damn Mongolians. Alright. One of the things we're gonna say, going through like Dark Souls, it's amazing, or even Path 2, how many people want you to play the game their way.
Yeah, that's really interesting. In general, like how many people like really want to give you input on how they play the game and want you to try their way and like want you to play it their way. Which it's even more than Path of Exile. And there are people already like suggest so much that you try what they try. But for me, that Dark Souls is all about like figuring out my own way through the game without knowing anything about the game. That's for me what I enjoy about the Dark Souls series. That the game does not little hand holding, and you actually have to find out what to do and how to get through the game yourself without like a big red arrow on the screen pointing you towards the next quest location like every other game does it.
Yeah, and well, it's one of the things that baffles me, that certain people can't understand the idea of knowing that your first run is not going to be optimal and you're discovering and failing at the same time. No, it's not a PoE related podcast, Crimson. We are just shit talking. Yeah. Literally shit talking.
It's a podcast about whatever we feel like talking about. There's probably going to be some PoE in it most of the time, I would think, because we play the game so much, but yeah.
And we've been playing Dark Souls as well, so probably tons of that today too.
Yep.
But monster design, I have not seen just as interesting monster design that Dark Souls has tried. I don't know if you've seen anything interesting yet.
I've seen a lot of pretty interesting monsters, especially considering how far I am into the game, or how not far I am into the game. Because I just managed my way to the poison swamps on the way to like Farron Keep. That's where I am right now. So I beat like
poison swamps. 5
bosses, I think. And that's not much, I would say. So, and I've seen pretty interesting monster designs so far. I like the mud crabs that made me laugh, just because I played a lot of Elder Scrolls.
And they're scary. They're very scary crabs.
The big ones, they're actually pretty scary. Yeah, I was like, okay, the small ones are a joke, obviously, and then the big ones actually are pretty interesting fights. And even if you try, I don't know if you ever tried to cheese them with a bow, but they actually like dig themselves into the ground and vanish.
Yeah, I tried to cheese them. It did not work very well.
Yep.
I was sad.
I like that.
And though their AI is pretty dumb. There's a lot of dumb AI.
Yeah, they're not very smart, especially like when you're at melee range and they start to like shoot at you. Like they go like down, go complete stationary, and like machine gun shoot at you, and just like one step to the side. You don't even dodge roll, and they're missing everything, and you can combo away.
They're like, no. I did like that they actually gave it the the side walking animation.
Yeah.
But the crabs, so it'll rotate 90 degrees, scuttle over into you, and then just whack you a couple times.
Yep, I love
You're like, really?
The animations in general are great. Like some of them are like borderline funny and hilarious, but a lot of them are like pretty creepy as well. Like these guys are like these red hooded dudes. They have like a saw blade in their hands. And then sometimes they will hit you, and then they'll like start not stop rampaging, and they'll like slam the ground like an angry child. It looks so funny. Like I love.
Yeah, then you're not even there, and they're just still going at it. Oh!
We got the ambulance.
An ambulance. Good. Now it's official.
Yeah, now it's an official podcast with me.
Excellent. And the other thing is, How have you been enjoying the difficulty curve of that game? Because that's one of the things where tons of games just do so hilariously terrible.
I've actually, I don't know if it was me trying, like, having a problem of getting into the game properly. I don't know how you experienced it because I think you have a lot more experience in Dark Souls than I
A
have.
little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I played like 100 hours of the first one and a little bit of the second one. But yeah, it took me a while to get used to the Souls gameplay and controls again. Also, the combat feels like a lot faster, I would say, than Dark Souls 1
Oh
and 2.
yeah, definitely.
Like a lot more snappy.
It's heavier.
Yeah,
Have you noticed that?
yeah, it's also heavier and it's just, yeah, it's faster but also heavier. It's like really.
Yeah,
I
which
think
I like because when I swing a weapon, it does feel that it's weighted and it does feel my character's locked. But also like the rolls are faster, the
yeah,
speed of the swings are good.
and the enemies as well. They are like it feels like you get hit a lot harder. You get staggered a lot more easily. I feel like you use a lot more stamina when you block, for example. Like most hits take away almost all of my stamina.
Apparently, Yoji's a lot quieter than me. I will tone myself down.
Yoji is a
Doot,
lot
doot.
quieter than
Is that a little bit better?
see where my volume's at.
Sounds fine to me. Apparently, it's a little bit off. Well, the one thing about playing a game like Dark Souls is when you're switching from that game to another game, where every moment is, conservation of resources to the next checkpoint, and then you switch to, Path of Exile or even Darkest Dungeon, and it's just immediately from everything matters to, all right, turn your brain off for a little bit. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, Dark Souls is it's like every mistake can cost you like your life for that run, and depending on how far you got, you lose a lot of progress sometimes and have to go through all that shit again. But yeah, in Path of Exile, especially like resource management is one of the things that you just like eliminate as planned character by character planning. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Your goal is to face roll. Like
yeah,
that
it's
is
the
the
goal.
objective
In
of a
Dark
build.
Souls,
To
you can
face roll.
probably make a phase roll build if you like know the game a lot, but for your first try, it's just gonna be a pain no matter what. I mean, I'm already using things that I think that would work well, like the Uchi Katana and the bow. Having a bow is always nice to like be able to pull everything at one by one and stuff like that. So I'm already attempting it easy mode for the first try. Like blind,
Uh,
but things that I think will work well. I'm not like trying to use like crappy daggers on purpose or something.
But using crappy daggers is fun. Why don't you grab that broken sword that you get on the grave and finish a run with it?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do like some silly challenge run at some point, but like my first
Okay.
one is usually blind and
What makes a self-imposed challenge more enjoyable for you? Because in Path of Exile, there was like the Soul Self-Found League going. I'm doing Soul Self-Found outside that race thing, and those are all self-imposed. Dark Souls is notorious for tons and tons of self-imposed
yeah.
challenges. So, what have you generally found playing video games that makes the self-imposed challenges enjoyable and not stupid?
That's a good question. I usually in other games I usually don't really do that. It's only Dark Souls where I do it. Like even in my on my usual blind run, I don't summon people, for example, which I could do and make the game a lot easier if I wanted to. I don't really know what it is. It's just I think the game
Chat can
just
answer the question
feels
too, by the way.
so fair in the difficulty for the most part. Like some parts are bullshit, but like I would say 90% of the game are really I don't know, just really don't feel frustratingly difficult. It just doesn't feel. It always feels good, like no matter what you do. Okay, I mean, maybe if not if you didn't like Cestus. I did a Cestus playthrough with Dark Souls 1 that was horrible. But I tried it. I
Oh,
canceled it.
which run? Sorry.
Huh?
That
Cestus
made
the fist weapons.
Oh, the Cestus,
Yeah,
yeah.
the
Oh,
first
that
Cestus. That
they
was
were not that good. I'm trying to think if they were worse than the whip.
um. I tried to make a whip poison characters once, but that didn't work.
No, no, it wouldn't. It would be crap, wouldn't it?
I think they are like I think they actually put things into the game that are really horrible on purpose, so people can make challenge runs with it. At least at this point, I don't know if they already did that in Dark Souls 1 or whatever, but
Well, for me, I remembered it being like when I was little and I didn't have a lot of video games. You would add challenges to a game you have just to like artificially extend your library when you want to play more. So I could clearly remember playing like Zelda Link to the Past and trying to use as little sword as possible or not using any mana runs. So that's where I always got. It's if it's a game you enjoy rather than playing a subpar game. It's like, all right, let's see if we can extend the longevity of it.
Yeah, that could be a thing as well. It could be a thing
Which is
because
why,
you usually, if you play through it once and drop it, you have like what, I don't know, 50 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours. If you're like really slow, I think it'll take
yeah,
roughly 60 hours through Dark Souls 1 for the first time. So let's say about that time, and then it's over. And you can do like New Game Plus, but I never found New Game Plus in Dark Souls to be too exciting. It's like, at least in Dark Souls 1, it was just more of the same. With you already have items and enemies are a little bit tougher, but that didn't ever really get me. I rather tried something different and something new instead.
yeah, and they don't get a new move set. They don't get a. And most games, I don't think games in general handle New Game Plus very well. Because to me, it's always like, okay, but your New Game Plus is just the boss has more health and does more damage. Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
that's not exciting. If you want to give them an extra phase or when I'm sure what's a game that's done New Game Plus very well? I'm not thinking of any immediately. Do you know one off your mind?
Trying to think right now. Anyone in the chat maybe has an idea? Because I'm
Yeah,
actually New
because
Game
I'm trying to.
Plus.
What's one that doesn't just inflate the numbers?
Yeah, and some it's like easy mode that I can remember. For example, Final Fantasy X2 has a New Game Plus where you already have the loot, and you actually need New Game Plus to complete 100% of the game because you can't do every story arc in the first try because they're like decisions that are exclusive. So you can't save the character and kill the character, obviously.
Zelda Wind Waker New Game Plus. You can play in your PJs.
That's pretty much worth it.
I hate whenever the hardest difficulty isn't available on a game right away because it's just like if I want to discover the story while being challenged.
Yeah, I like that as well. Like choose your own difficulty is something I'm very fond of. There's like I think there's like in game design there's a psychological problem they have when they have like when you choose like easy, normal, hard, and very hard and whatever. Because no one really wants to play on easy ever, right? Because it just makes you feel like, oh, that's bad. And I think Dark Souls solves that pretty well, as in you can choose your own difficulty. You can in fact you can like be okay, I start as deprived and see what happens. That's already a lot harder, especially in the beginning. Or you start as I don't know, or you just self-impose a challenge on you. You decide not to use, for example, Dark Souls 2. The easy mode, I would say, is you get the freaking flame sword, and you get that ring that makes your life when you die only reduced to I think like thirds or something instead of half, and that's basically easy mode of the game. That's basically it's way easier to play the game that way. And if you if you choose to not use that ring, then you're already playing hard mode basically.
Yeah, and there's definitely when you put in an item that's strong. You know, Demon Souls had the ring that you only lose like 25% rather than 50% of your health bar. Dark Souls 2 had the Covenant that you could join that just made the game harder.
Yeah.
But that felt like an easy mode, normal mode choice rather than being like, oh, you're specifically not using this item that is competent.
Yeah, that's true. It's more like it's more like a choice, but it's in the game mechanics and not just like select option menu, select hard, and then it goes. Also, a lot of games do hard mode wrong in that they just like scale up the damage and the HP of monsters, so everything feels spongy and is more punishing, and nothing else happens. I like when they add more monsters, for example.
I'm thinking of like the entire franchise of Borderlands. All right,
Yeah,
so new
Borderlands.
zone. What if we take the same mob we had, double its health? Genius.
Everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's perfect! It's engaging gameplay."
And then it will make new weapons that drop that are the same weapons with more damage. Genius.
Yeah, it's really not that exciting. I like when they add more monsters, for example, than when they like, for example, add just like there's like an arena fight, for example, with like a lot of melee monsters, and then they just like add like 5 range mobs on the higher level or something. Then you're fucked because range mobs and melee mobs are a problem.
I always find the easiest one, and I definitely understand why it's not done because it takes a lot of work. Even subtle AI differences.
Yep,
Whenever I notice an AI difference, that's huge because that
that's
you're
true.
not expecting something, and then all of a sudden, okay, something did happen.
Yeah, yeah. If you, for example, give like the normal zombies in Dark Souls or like the normal undead dudes with like shield and spear or something. Give them more like of a dodge roll that they actually use, like the NPC invaders, for example. Give them more like an advanced AI, because they have advanced AI. They have like the NPC invaders who actually they even taunt you with emotes, by the way. Don't know if you found that out, but if you
I
screw
don't
up,
think
they
I've
will
seen
like
that
taunt you and
yet.
stuff. I was like, with one invader, he was like so much of a dick that I was not sure if he was a player or an NPC for a while.
Actually, yeah,
The name
one of
clearly
the
told me
first ones I
NPC.
fought, and they did a good job of not making it just an enemy that walks straight into you spamming. And I'm like, wow, they actually tried.
Yeah, they
Good
actually
job.
tried. It was pretty good. Like they were not too difficult or anything, but they were all right. And yeah, I think if they just took some of the more advanced AI and put it onto like more normal mobs and like maybe tried even harder with a little bit of the harder AI, maybe they could make that work if they really wanted to. The new game
Well,
plus.
and going to Path of Exile, Chris did mention that we might be getting a type of elite mob within a pack that would have a different behavior. Because Path has the same problems where they're just like, same thing, bigger number.
Yep.
Good job.
And like more of them as well. They pack size goes up, life and damage goes up, and they can also have more mods, and some mods only spawn on like higher difficulties, like reflect and stuff. Doesn't spawn in normal, I think. But that's kind of it, yeah. I think that they definitely have potential there. They showed that they can make mobs that have like somewhat of a complex AI with warbands. I
Yeah,
don't think they
I
nailed
was
warbands at
hoping when
all.
I saw Warbands that it was like a test for an AI that they were going to kind of sprinkle through the game more.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping as well, because I think the AI of warbands are pretty good. Like the mob design overall was all right. I didn't think
Little
they
bit
really.
spongy.
Yeah, they were a
Little
bit
bit spongy.
spongy, and some of the mechanics were just like very gimmicky and not actually threatening at all. For example, the guys who make like frost walls and then they dash through it, it's like, oh yeah, they're so clever, but I still shoot them from range. I mean, I don't really care. Oh, nice, a frost wall. I can now explosive arrow them easier. That's pretty cool. It's not even helping.
No, no, it really isn't. And I'm trying to think. There was ones that they were trying to have an idea, like there was the Flame Surge, Flame Dash, Searing Bond enemies, and you can see what they were trying to execute,
Yeah.
but overall, it was just kind of like not quite getting there.
They actually
Not
managed
quite.
that combination pretty well with Piranhas. There's like a Piranhas pack combination that happens sometimes where you get the what they call the incinerators that toss the fire traps like really
Okay, yeah.
fast with the backpacks, and then you have like a bunch of these normal mobs that flame surge you. And if that hits you pretty like in rapid succession, they do a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
damage. That
there's the
actually works.
Magma Orb and then the Flame Surge.
Yeah,
The my experience with Brandis is either builds that trivialize it completely, or like, hey, let's try melee with name lock. Dead. Oh dear God.
I'm really happy I didn't roll a summoner first time in this league as well. I think like everything that's like very zergy and spam skills kills summoners so fast. It's not fun.
Yeah, yeah, it is definitely punishing on some archetypes, whereas others are just kind of like, hey, free flask charges. Good.
Yeah,
Good.
my background is apparently awesome. That's good.
It is.
It
It
took
needs more coffee stains.
it took 10 minutes to make. Yeah, it will add more coffee stains as the podcast goes on if we even decide to make a second one. But
Just
yes,
like wing it. Ah, fuck it. Why? Why even bother?
then there will be more coffee stains because it gets more used. Obviously, that makes sense. Storyline on the background as well.
The Grandmaster map thoughts? Oh, yeah, because they do have AI in the Hall of the Grandmasters, and I remember you were able to tell how you would like your build to function, and GGG would try to modify the AI of that particular mob
Yep.
to work within how your build works. Hall of the Grandmasters, I was really excited for because it's such a great potential between community and developer and really having your name in the game, and it is a colossal waste of time.
It takes way too much time to maintain the Grandmasters. That's the problem. Like, whenever they change any game mechanic, like, every Grandmaster who uses the mechanic breaks, and they have to redo it.
Yep.
And people have to sometimes
And
resubmit it as well, and they don't have the characters.
yeah, and
Ready.
what if and then it's like, all right, all the people who didn't do things before subclasses, congratulations, all of those grandmasters
Yeah.
have none of the subclass stuff, which is really neat stuff. And
Yeah. And a lot of people actually put a lot of effort into that
Yeah,
Grandmasters.
a
They bought
lot.
like mirror-worthy gear from the top crafters and put like insane gear on their characters before they submitted it. I know Zeno got like really insane gear on his freeze pulser, for example, and like other people as well. And
It's a good idea.
it's a really good idea. It's just the maintenance. I don't think they thought the maintenance part through before they
No,
implemented it.
no, what's the solution to something like that when you have a game that's constantly being patched in such a way? Was the Grandmasters too ambitious?
I think it might have been, yeah. I mean, they would like, need like at least like I don't know how many people, but like a Grandmasters team who actually updates the freaking Grandmasters every time. And I don't think that's worth it to have that for like just one for like every patch. For one
Well, and
map
even then,
that
what was the
nobody ever
Grandmaster
runs.
support pack? It was like $1,000.
I don't know what the Grandmaster supporter pack is. I would think it's like 1,000, yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
you're still quiet, Yoji. You know,
I turn
get some
myself up
balls
like
and
a
start
lot.
screaming
I
in
can
that
just
mic.
turn you down.
Deep throat that mic.
I can just turn you down. My mic is already here.
You will do a better job at it. Clearly, you are inexperienced.
Yeah, this is non-tryhard podcast, so I can't do shit. Anyway. Yeah, I turned you down so people just turn up the volume now and that should work.
Winning.
Professional solution.
The best.
I was just gonna click around. Volume.
No,
I keep
and it's like
regulating my
those things-
volume down, I don't know why. That's
you're a little bit louder now. I don't know. Maybe works.
It keeps regulating me up and down. I think it's Skype being like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to turn your volume down, you're talking too loud.
Bitch, 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 bitch. And it's one of those things that it's a shame to say that it's overambitious because it would be amazing.
Yep.
But how the fuck would you ever do it?
Yeah, I
And
think
then again, everybody who's putting like their characters in, they want it to be ridiculously rippy, obviously, so that you know them.
Yeah.
Which means the map is probably the hardest thing other than Uber at Siri.
Yeah.
Very few builds can realistically do it, and there's so many builds that you just can't run it as. Like Poison, guess what? They're CI.
Yep.
So have fun.
Low life below 10%, there's Culling Strike.
Yeah, and then it's like, what are the rewards for running it? Complete shit. There's a divination card, isn't there? They put a series disfavor card.
I think they put the House of Mirrors in there. The mirror card.
Oh no.
Which kind of thematically makes sense because it is a House of Mirrors where all the copy characters are, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. It does, and I see why they were trying to encourage more people to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, I did it on my Rage Attack Totem character. My main problem was there were a lot of characters that I couldn't kill because they were Aegis Aurora characters, and I was an attacking build. Which basically means get wrecked.
yeah, it really does. Unless you do a certain amount of damage per attack, you're fucked.
But yeah, I was Ellie, so it's like fast attacking. That's
They should
already
include
bad.
Grandmasters in the normal game. That would have made sense. If the Grandmasters were also rogue exiles,
They would have to tune them a lot, though. Because some of them... There's one guy, for example,
then,
that
remember
almost
the
died
original
too. He just
Magnus?
one-shots you.
was which guy one shots you?
There's like his name is Rectile Dysfunction, and he's a completely mirrored low life Windripper dude with insane attack speed, and he will off screen you.
But isn't he? You have to remember they have auras, and he's getting buffed by the people around him. Does he do that much damage when everyone else is? Okay, but what about this? What if that mob, that exile, only spawned in tier 15s? Would you be upset by that?
No, because I never run them, because I never drop them.
Well, it's like, remember Magnus when he had balls?
Yeah, I think it would be cool if you like put that in really high maps. I mean, you would still have maybe only if you roll like rogue exiles on your map, they can only spawn from that. So you already know, okay, I have to be really careful on this map.
Yeah,
Kind of
that
like
would
get
make
like a
that
warning.
role more interesting. Rather than just, hey, two mobs that give me loot. Because even Igna isn't that scary anymore, is he? Is
No,
she?
Igna isn't scary anymore. I would say like the power level just went up so much. Igna used to be a huge scary factor, but not that much anymore. And Flame Blast, like if you can't dodge Flame Blast from Magnus, then you die. But
You don't even have to dodge it anymore.
I mean, only
can
the
just-
really high charge ones maybe. But
Now, I'm pretty sure you can just eat it now in the game. Like
That's that crazy?
without any like, just eat the pizza.
Yeah,
You
just eat the pizza.
even
Pizza
if you're
eating build OP. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I just dodge them on habit because they used to be scary and I don't really want to try.
Yeah.
And it is easy to dodge. Like flame blasts are not hard to dodge if you
No.
manage that.
The only time I remember having issues dodging is because when Magnus was strong, everybody was playing Flame Blast, so it was like, wait, is that my ally's Flame Blast?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm dead. Whoops.
Yeah, same for when what was it called in Beyond, when you never knew if you summoned a Beyond boss or somebody was just flame blasting you.
But then, all right, one-shot mechanics in video games. Who here likes them, and when are they justified? Yoji?
I like them. They're justified if the attack looks like it would one shot you.
It looks like.
Like if someone just like does a I don't know, dagger stab at me and I get one shot, I would feel it would feel cheap and I would feel like it's bullshit. But if something like twice the size of my character has a huge hammer and he like swings it very slowly at my head and I get hit, I am okay with being one shot.
Is there a situation in where you cannot have a wind up and a one shot is fair game?
Cannot have a wind up.
Yeah, what wind up? Obviously, that can be fine. It's just a question of how fast. Is there a situation where when there isn't a wind up and you get one shot?
If there's some kind of preparation you can do, I think it's all right. For example, in like a good Path of Exile example would be if there's anything that does a lot of chaos damage to me, and I have minus 60 chaos res, and I get one shot. Can't really complain. I have minus 60. But if it still one shots me at like 0%, I would be a bit upset. But yeah, if my preparation sucks and something one shots me, and there is like a preparation gearing way around it, I would say that's pretty good. What do you think? Like one shot being one shot.
Well, like Malware's, did you enjoy the Zeri one shot at 5.8k life?
Like, that was pretty legit.
It was funny.
It had a wind up, was just bugged.
Yeah, it was supposed to give you 3 seconds. Instead, it gave me 0.03 seconds. Close. Well, like the one thing that I'm always think about. So in Dark Souls, there's a lot. One of the differences between Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1 is there's very, very few things that will fully one-shot you in Dark Souls. That's not true in Dark Souls 3.
I got one shot within the first 2 hours. By the katana dude.
There's a lot of mobs that will actually kill you, and Dark Souls 1 was about running out of your Estus flasks, and then you're out of resources, and then you'll get, you just get taken down, and then you die.
Yep.
Dark Souls 3, there's many times you're going to fail, even though you have Estus flasks left. The mobs are not as aggressive, but they hit significantly harder.
But there are more bonfires to be like. It feels more forgiving still. Like if they had more of that in Dark Souls 1 with the very scarce bonfire distribution, that would feel horrible. While right now it's like, okay, there's a bonfire, then like 3 mobs that can one-shot me, and then there's a bonfire. So I guess if I don't get one-shot 3 times, then I get to the next bonfire. So with the more bonfires, it kind of makes sense for there being more unforgiving mechanics, kind of make up for. Otherwise, the game would be too easy. If like there was no unexpected threat.
And you generally have the information. There's either an audio cue, a visual one, whereas they really need to, in Path of Exile, make mobs have some kind of visual indicator if they have powerful crits.
Yeah, that would be. I think that would be good. Like the reflect and whatnot, they have like some area, some particles, whatever, around them. But hopefully do not lag my PC. That will tell me. Hey, it's powerful.
No, that's not going to happen.
Oh, I have 0 FPS.
Okay,
I guess
so
I'm getting
we have an indicator
for
for powerful
2,
crits.
1.
What's going to happen is it's going to spawn 17 illusionary Malachis and blood everywhere, and that's how you know it's powerful crits.
We definitely need 7 illusionary Malachis somewhere. Oh man.
Actually, honestly, I love illusions and mimics in video games. Dark Souls does mimics very well. Even when you know about them, they're gonna get you. But games need to do them so much more. I love even just illusion mobs where they make you afraid, and then you're like, oh no, and then you just hit it and it's dead. And you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I like that as well. Like in general, in Dark Souls 2, there were the guys that their gimmick was they can't be targeted. They were like illusionary.
Yep.
I like them a lot because there was something that kind of they had a mechanic to them, but there was a solely game mechanics related, which I found really funny. While they didn't have like a special weapon or
Yeah, it
anything.
was
but just
incorporated really well with the themes. It was a great mom for that game.
Yep. And then they in Dark Souls 3 you have mimics as well, like in the old Dark Souls parts. I like mimics because, as you said, they will always get you. And whenever they get you, you know it's your fault for not checking, which is the best part. And they actually one-shot you, and I'm completely fine with that. And there's no wind up to that. It's just you not checking for mimic dead.
Though I always like, why isn't there mimic barrels and mimic tables? Because you can check the chests, but you always roll into the crates. Always.
Oh, that would be cool. Like, just imagine you like.
Mimic crate. You roll into it, just two arms pop out of the side, grab you, and kill you.
Yeah, I just imagine like rolling through a table and just suddenly stands up, dodges the roll, grabs me and power bombs me into the ground like dead. And then the table is like,
Someone told me a joke on my Twitch chat the other day, and they were like, it was a mimic joke for like D&D. I was like, why do you carry your weapon in the inn? Mimics. The party laughed, the bartender laughed, the table laughed. They all stabbed the table.
Table laugh. That's pretty good. I think the point that Malware just made in chat is that toxic and poison in Dark Souls 1 actually were basically one-shot mechanics. They could like whittle you down. Like sometimes you get get the toxic status and just die, even though you have 2 S's because you're out of the.
It lasted so long. I'm glad that the poison swamps, fucking games in poison swamps.
Yeah, that was these little guys that like shoot you with a what do you call it? Like
the pea shooter, the
guys. Yeah, that was so annoying. They hit you like once and you're screwed. It's just ridiculous.
There's a lot less platform related deaths in 3.
Well, yeah. I mean, I still managed to die to that, but
there's some. There's
more
some
difficult to die to gravity. Yeah.
I'm still like, Dark Souls has a little bit, like the tiniest bit of platforming in it, like really, really nothing. And then you have the labyrinth and path, and they're like,
Dark Souls has like sometimes you have like what was it what was called the fire the keep in Dark Souls 2, where that's like the fire things that you have to go through that like will alternate and stuff like that. Iron Keep? This is Iron
yeah,
Keep?
the Iron Keep.
Yeah, they had like very low difficulty platforming mechanics. They only got difficult when there were also mobs around, basically.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. I think Dark Souls, if they didn't have such a shitty jump button, could do something more with the jump mechanics. Yeah. I like platformers. I grew up on platformers. I'm never like, oh no, timed puzzle. I like timed puzzles. But they can't be shitty time puzzles where it's like, oh, figure out the sequence.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, the jump button, I think, is a big problem because, yeah, I barely managed to, like, press the right... Like, you had to press the analog stick in on a controller to jump while you're also holding forward to run forward.
And then you have to let go of the run button if you don't want to roll at the end of the jump.
That's new, though, right?
That is new. That is.
The roll used to be mandatory. I'm pretty sure that it used to be
roll
like,
was
you
mandatory.
Jump and you roll, and you always roll and fall off the cliff if you screw up. It made for hilarious moments.
Greatest moments.
Oh, my ambulance emotes in chat. Yes. Success.
Gotta have the amulets. Wee oo, wee oo. I think that derailed our thoughts.
Knowledge to see as well. Now it's an official stream. He's in every stream I ever watch or make.
I always have fun when I'm just watching an obscure streamer that I normally watch and I see someone else. I'm like, hey, you. I know you.
Yeah. It happens quite a lot, like especially of course in Path of Exile. But sometimes I even watch like a random League of Legends pro while I'm doing something else, and then there's like, this guy watches my stream. What is he doing here?
Watching League. Shame. Actually, I don't mind watching the tournaments. The competitive play is kind of nice.
Yeah, the competitive play is the fun.
As long as it's not one team getting completely shit on.
I mean, yeah,
Those
sometimes
matches.
you will have that because it's a league format where everyone plays against everyone, the top and the bottom playing against each other. I skip that. But if there's like a good match of like two teams doing well, I will usually watch. And the European LCS is actually in Berlin, by the way, so if I wanted to, I could go watch it live.
You could be social.
Yeah, I did that once, but it's like I felt really old when I did that. Because
Really?
my roommate and I, we were sitting there, and like I think we were 10 years older than everyone else around,
Uh, you feel
except the parents.
the parents. Really? Is it really that young of the demographic?
That day it was. I was told it's not like that every time, but we went on a one of the earlier in the league dates, and I was told like earlier it's more younger people, and later people get older and older.
That just seems like a shitty live event. I can understand other live events, but you're watching a video game screen live, and you can't even hear the commentation as well as you could if you were at home.
Although you can hear the commentation, you basically get what they have on the main screen what you get on Twitch as well, basically. So you
Okay.
basically it's more like it feels more like a viewing party where the people who play on the screen happen to be sitting there as well for some reason.
But it's set up like a stadium, isn't it?
Uh Not really. They make it look way bigger than it actually is. They do a really good job of making it look epic and huge.
Okay,
and
yeah, camera
but
tricks.
like the LCS is pretty small.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it would be fun if you had like the screen and you're watching, but then you had tables and you're doing like a pizza parties thing, and everyone's just having like pizza and pop and sitting in that fashion. I could enjoy it, but watching it like a film, I don't know. That just seems
Yeah,
really.
it was a bit weird. What we usually do when we watch LCS, we just or like any event, like sometimes like Street Fighter or whatever. We have my roommate has a really big TV, and yeah, we just like sit down in front of the TV, and he can put his PC stuff on the TV. And we can also position the TV so that you can watch streams while cooking or doing dishes, which is like quality of life.
Yeah. But we still have the trend where everything is trying to make an esport out of it.
Especially like even the most casual games like Hearthstone. I was like, why would you make Hearthstone an esport? I mean, not like the game has depth because it is a card game and there's hidden information. And yes, it is not like super casual, but the game is clearly designed for the casual crowd, and they still make an esport out of it.
Well, Blizzard knows how to print money.
That is true.
Like they know how to make money. I would never say anything against that point.
No, I mean they clearly do, and they clearly like they found their target audience and they know how to cater to them, and they're doing an amazing job at that. I just happen to be not that target audience, but I used to
Well,
be
you
the
play
target audience
Magic,
of them
don't
back
you?
in the day.
Did you play Magic the Gathering?
Yeah, I used to actually play tournaments as well.
Okay. And it's such a watered down Magic the Gathering. That doesn't mean there isn't like it's the same skill elements that transfer, knowing
Yep.
when to play what. And sure, the deck building is fairly homogenized at any skill bracket, and that does it's the same in MTG. And
Yeah.
unless you completely play this weird meta format, but even then you have to switch it. But it's just such a lack of interaction that gets me. It's basically like two people playing a one player race.
Yeah, that's what it feels like a lot of the time. Like you can, because there's no instant interaction in the other player's turn. You do your stuff, and then you click end turn, and then you sit back and watch. And the only thing that you can really do during the other player's turn is like try to figure out what he has on his hand by like seeing what he does and what he doesn't do and what he like plays around, or if he like lets you overextend, he maybe has a mass removal. Like, but that's like all that stuff MTG also has. But yeah,
Though to be fair, their online format is hilariously better than MTG. MTG is god awful with their online format.
but that also comes with the complexity. A lot of the rules of MTG are really hard to implement. I mean, they're really hard to understand
yeah,
for human beings already.
I've read the entire the handbook of rules, all like 196
The
pages.
comprehensive rules or the
Yeah.
actual rules.
The comprehensive.
Yeah, they are already like It's way too much. I mean,
Because
I used to judge like a few like small tournaments, so I
Yeah.
never really did the whole judge test thing. So I'm not like a level judge, but I'm allowed to, like, as long as like not more than 30 people or so. There was like some limit where I couldn't judge anymore, but I judged like a few legacy tournaments, and
I hate legacy
yeah,
tournaments.
legacy is awesome. You can just
No,
play.
legacy is terrible. And not as bad as vintage, but it's too fast.
Vintage is like literally bullshit. Like it always
All right,
feels like
turn
a
one,
way too
I
big
win.
percentage just gets of games is just like, okay, I win now. Do you have a counter spell?
Well, yeah, you basically you just keep mulling until you get why can't I remember that fucking counter that you can discard the cards for?
Force of will.
Yeah, force of will. You know, you mull till force of will because you know you're getting one shot.
Yep. And you either play the deck that gets one shot, or you play that gets the one shot on the enemy, or you play the deck that can prevent the one shot. Preferably both.
So bad. Like vintage is still really fast.
Yeah, but like long games of vintage, where like the first initial attempt to win the game do fail on both sides, they get really interesting because there's so much you have to keep in mind, because one little mistake will just like snowball the game out of control for either side, because suddenly he draws his deck and kills you, which is, I think, is really, really interesting to watch.
Well, that's why I enjoyed Modern when they were trying to push that in play, because Modern had the right. I like that Modern didn't kick in until the turn 3, whereas it's the turn 1 and turn 2 play that exists in Legacy.
Yep.
That being said, their business handling of Modern was not organized, and that caused so many issues with it. And their weird ban list and just some of those choices did not make any sense to me.
I don't know. I never really played Modern as much, but like the moment the time when I started to play less and less Magic was the time when Modern was introduced. So I like know the initial ban list, and then they like changed a few things about that, and but I never really looked into it as much because I still played Legacy. But I mean, in Legacy I played Dredge, so my Legacy opinion is a bit twisted.
Fuck you, Dredge.
Yeah.
Before I stopped playing, I had 10 Forces of Will by Zuby, but they were worthless at the time. Do you still have them?
If you still have them, there's like a few $100 in the bank. I mean, I still have like probably like a few €1,000 of Magic cards just lying around there back
What was your most valuable single card?
I think I sold all my dual lands before for university. I basically financed my university studies with dual lands mainly.
Like Alpha Dual Lands?
Not the alpha ones, the revised, the white bordered ones, which are
Okay.
a little bit less. But they are still like 50 to €100 per card. So if you have like play sets of them, it's a lot of money. You can pay a lot of rents with cards, cardboard. And right now I have like mainly like really good Elder Dragon Highlander or like Commander stables. Like I have a foil Child of Alara, which goes for like a few bucks, stuff like that.
Okay. I'm trying to think of what was the most expensive card I had.
I never owned any like vintage power cards or anything like that because I was a legacy player. I think the most valuable card I ever had was a Underground Sea. It's probably
Underground Sea. I had a foil Snapcaster set. That was
Oh, nice.
that was I guess I had the most expensive card I had would have been a foil Jace the Mind Sculptor, which was worth a lot.
He used to be worth a lot, especially for such a new imprint card. He used to be
Well,
worth
he was
so
broken as fuck.
much. Yes, he was, but he was not banned, which was even worse.
It took him so long, and they're like, Cobblade, let's add swords. That was so bad. And it's an immediate problem when you have a new card immediately go into vintage and legacy formats.
Yeah,
That's
especially
how
if it costs 4 mana and people play it in vintage. Then it is good.
yeah.
If it costs 1 or 2 mana, like Snapcaster Mage, of course, that's a vintage stable because you can recast all the insanely broken low mana
and that's
instantly.
but that hinders on another card being great. Jace the Mind Sculptor is a 1-card deck winner.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Jace the Mind Sculptor was pretty funny. When I first read him, I was like, he seems pretty good, but not sure how good he exactly is. He's like three
Well, he
really
was
good
5
abilities.
mana, so I think that's what they were hoping
Yeah,
would keep his power level down.
but no.
No.
Like I think even for 5 mana he would be insane.
No, he was 5 mana. He wasn't 4.
He's not
Was he?
4. He's 5. I think it was 4 mana.
I might. 1 second.
Use
To
the
the
Google
internet.
foo.
Jace.
Google
Not
break.
face. Jace, the mind sculptor. I think he's 5. No, he's 4. I'm wrong. I'm retarded. I'm
Jason the Mind
retarded.
Sculptor had a 91% representation at Worlds, apparently. I read here in chat. Then when Core Blades was a thing, was the entire top 8 of so many tournaments. Yeah, okay, Core Blade was just dumb.
Yeah, but
that
after
deck was
Caw Blades, they put in the what was it? Lingering Spirits, the flashback that allowed you to get 4
Flying blockers
flying
and attackers.
1/1 blockers for 1 card, and it's just like, did you not learn your mistake from last time? And
was
that one
ridiculous.
went right to Legacy too. Like that is a huge one.
That's true. But yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun with Dredge just because it allowed me to like randomly win tournaments that I should never be able to win, where everyone was playing Graveyard Hate and I still won because I still won first turn 1 or 2. And
Yeah.
people got so mad. It was just basically trolling. It was basically trolling at a tournament Magic level, and I had so much fun with it. And before that, I played Goblins. That was
You were
also
an
a lot of
asshole.
fun.
Well, I guess like red deck wins isn't that much worse. Because playing against red deck wins is like, please don't let them have 21 damage in his opening hand.
Yeah.
Like,
In
oh,
Legacy,
no, we
especially
lost.
because you have all the pain from the fetch lands, you actually get to kill people pretty fast sometimes. I have like 2 turn 3 wins with goblins that I never should have
Lord.
happened.
Asked what thoughts were on Infect. Did you play in the Infect meta at all, it's Yoji?
Yeah, I played. That was like one of the last tournaments I played. That was when Infect just was big. I think there was someone won Star City games with it, and then everyone in Hamburg was also playing Infect. It was like the Infect Stompy deck where people just like pump,
Yeah, to go
pump
for the
spell an Infect dude and double his power with Berserk and then one shot you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that deck doesn't win against Dredge. That's all I know because you just cable therapy them for Berserk and they lose.
Yeah.
It's like, discard all Berserks from your hand. Oh, damn, yeah, I can't win anymore. Next turn, 20 damage on the board in your face. He's like, oh, yeah, I can't win against that either.
I think my problem with Infect was I love it conceptually to have an alternate win condition. You have the deck death, you have, the life pool, adding Infect as a tertiary win condition, I thought would be a fantastic mechanic. As a mechanic that is being introduced and then faded out immediately, I felt was disappointing. Because it's something, yes, I do understand the balance problems that it adds to the game, but I'm fine with that. That gives you a more involved format. So I really hope they would have kept Infect. Well, they never were going to. That's just obvious to anyone who knew the format of Magic.
It was like a block mechanic, and they will just like randomly rotate it out. It might come back at some point, like many mechanics like flashback come back again.
I hate that because they have such fun mechanics and then they never come back. And I'm like, no, I like Miracles. Miracles was a really fun mechanic.
Miracles was interesting, yeah. I like Miracles a little bit. It kind of added a random element to it, but at the point where you play Legacy and there's Sensei's Divining Top, it's just bullshit. I'm very sorry, but Brainstorm and Sensei's Divining Top are not fun with Miracles, and nobody's thought that one through. When they printed the Wrath of God that puts stuff under your library instead of the graveyard for 1 mana at will.
What do you mean?
Instant.
The 2 mana bonus turn?
Yeah. Like all that stuff. That was not fun.
Time Walk. Sensei's Divine. That is such a hilariously broken card.
Yes.
And in Elder Dragon, Highlander, or Commander, whatever you want to call it, Sensei's Divine. That's everybody. If you're not doing a try-hard deck, which I hate doing Elder Dragon Highlander against other tryhards, because it's whoever plays the first tutor card wins the game.
If you try hard, yes, that it's. And also you will have, like, if you play Triad, you will have 20 of the same commanders on the table all the time. Because they're, like, just, like, a handful that are just better than everyone else.
Want to know what the best card to play in Commander is? Scatterverse.
What's that?
You've probably seen Scatterverse.
So it's one of those cards that just randomize all the stuff.
All permanents go to random players.
Oh yeah, I actually have a deck with that. That's red. I have a red deck that has only bullshit stuff. It has like some random orc legend as general, and then he has like all the bullshit,
never
destroy
seen...
all, randomize all, people get random damage. What's called like the planar chaos randoms. Like whenever you play a spell, you flip a coin and it gets counted on heads or something. It's just like nothing is reliable anymore. What is this game?
I had a deck to do that too. I've never seen a rage quit so great. We had a 9-way commander game, and I played Scatterverse, and everyone just went, nope,
Yep.
nope, new game, you win.
You can only play such a deck with those cards so often before your friends just punch you in the face and move on. So you can only play that like once every month or so, but that when it happens, it's fun.
Hello, Biohazard. We're just dicking around. Me and it's Yoji are doing a don't give a shit format podcast where we don't have topics.
Yeah, we don't have topics. We talk about whatever. Like we actually have a list of like 5 topics in case we run out of things to talk. Yeah, and Magic the Gathering was not one of them.
No. What was another one? I didn't write it down. Did you?
No. I have them somewhere on Skype, but now your face covers all of my Skype, so rip.
Ooh, we wanted to talk about like
the difficulty at Dark Souls. We already touched on that. One thing I was wondering about that. I'm a bit surprised that Dark Souls is that popular. Although it's that difficult.
What the fuck with the bandwagon? Like, I understood the bandwagon thing, but is it just like watching people fail that made it big? Because I've been huge on the games, and yes, it's always grown, but it's kind of like Witcher 3. Witcher 3 was a good game, and Dark Souls 3 is a good game, but the bandwagon did not make sense based off the previous games.
It just exploded like from Witcher 2 to Witcher 3. The franchise just exploded into something that it never was before, and I don't really know how that came, really. I mean, the preview material looked really good to the point where people were wondering if that was like just pre-rendered and stuff, because they were like, okay, these graphics in a game that we have never seen that before, especially from like a small studio like the people who produced The Witcher, respectively, like.
But Dark Souls is a much nicher game than, and that's the thing, it's not a title that tries to sell for a mass audience. It is a niche title. It's a very niche title.
But people actually stick to it. It's not like people come to like Dark Souls 3 and they start either like watching or playing it. I don't know how many people actually play it, but it gets a lot of viewers as well. And it was I think it was the fastest selling game that Namco Bandai ever put out. So the hype actually also led to sales. It's not only people watching it.
And it did make sense that it grew. I'm not surprised that Dark Souls 3 was bigger than 2 or bigger than 1 in terms of sales. I'm just surprised how big it is.
Yeah, I'm also surprised how many people like actually have fun with it. I can see like even if someone's like, okay, I don't really want to play it, but I want to watch it. And I get that a lot when I stream it or when I uploaded my YouTube series. I get a lot of comments of, hey, I'll watch you play this and watch other people play this, but I would never play it myself. And I can definitely see why that may being a thing. But so many people try it and apparently enjoy it, although I would have never taken them for a person who would enjoy the game.
Well, it definitely comes to the fact that it does play into the harsh but fair. It is a hard game, but it's not Ninja Gaiden SNES hard. It's not Battletoads hard. It is a game that the difficulty has some semblance of logic attached in their fairy tale world.
Yep.
Has anyone in the chat like watching Dark Souls but has tried it and hate it out of curiosity?
Yeah, Alex just right. He is yet to finish Dark Souls 1, and I know he tried really hard to finish it, but he couldn't get himself to. What he told me when he watched my stream, and he watches Dark Souls gameplay.
Yeah, I like watching. I always watch new players do runs. I don't like watching personally veteran players do runs unless it's an interesting challenge run, like beat it with Guitar Hero.
Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Playing Dark Souls. Makes total sense.
Path Guy loves watching Dark Souls. You hate it. Why do you hate it? Laughing Man CZ. Everybody's been on the Dark Souls bandwagon. What do you dislike about it?
The PvP is really disappointing. Oh yeah, I don't really find it disappointing, and I can see the appeal in Dark Souls PvP. But I personally only PvP. If I get invaded, I will PvP, and I'm what is called the dudes that get summoned to protect other people. That's what the Covenant I usually.
Oh, the Way of the Blue or whatever.
The Way of the Blue. That's what I usually do. So when sometimes you get to teleport into a war zone. By the way, I had that on stream happen the other day, where I was Way of the Blue dude, and I got summoned like randomly out of nowhere into like the zone before, and there were like 3 invaders fighting like 5 summoned dudes and another dude or something. And I was like the only blue guy there. I was like, all right, it's war. Apparently, that's actually what I find is pretty fun. That you can actually do like large scale PvP as well in Dark Souls.
Yeah, there's always like what would be just brawls being hosted.
Yep.
Well, Stefan actually made an interesting point. He's like, he doesn't like to play it alone. It's too slow paced. I remember watching Rise QT doing some Dark Souls, and his annoyance with the caster was just that the game was too methodical. He wants to just go in and slaughter things, but he's like, all right, have to stay back, use the spell.
But that was actually class choice then, because you can go in and slaughter things in Dark Souls.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You're using a two-handed, you're using the Uchi Katana, aren't you?
I'm using one-handed and shield, yeah.
Oh, one-handed shield.
And two-handed if there's a boss where blocking doesn't make sense.
Slaughter.
But if you're dual wielding, I was dual wielding the scimitar, the twin scimitars that the mercenary starts with, and that actually, like, you can AOE slaughter like a group of enemies. Like, normally when you're swamped by enemies, that's a problem. But with dual wielding, with the whirling attacks, where you just like whirl around all the time, especially with the sword art, you have no problem with that. If you're being swamped, you just kill everything at once. That's actually pretty interesting playstyle as well. I think that could actually work.
The mob placement in Dark Souls 3 is probably the best in the entire series.
It is pretty good, yeah.
Where they place the mobs, it's very, very Demon Souls. Did you play Demon Souls at Yoji?
I didn't get past the first boss when I tried it, and I'm still not further
the
anymore.
Phalanx boss?
The very first boss thing with the boss health bar. I played it when it was released, and I tried it and I was like, nope. And then I never tried it again after I got through Dark Souls.
That's a supposed to lose fight.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
You quit the game on a supposed to lose fight.
Alright, I didn't know you were supposed to lose that one. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Oh, it's Yoji, really?
I mean, that was like, how many years ago? That was like way before I played.
You could have waited 2 seconds.
No!
Get spawned and realize you're in a different location.
Nobody ever told me that!
You could have did not rage quit the moment you lost a health bar in a video game.
I did. There was very different times back then. It was my first game that actually kills you.
Oh, okay. It's a
nice.
lose fight. Try it. It's a good game.
All right, maybe I will play Demon Souls at some point again. Die like a man.
I don't know what to say to that. I do not.
The chat is also like, no, pale fishes.
When
game design fails, when you put in a fight and you have to die, and people quit forever.
Actually, that's a good question that Chief is asking. How do we feel about the supposed to lose fights? I don't like them.
Yep, same. Obviously.
You would have to have a really, really good reason. And even Demon Souls has a reason, but I don't like it. It had, because of death is an actual mechanic of the Souls games. Mm-hmm. It makes more sense than others to use the supposed to lose encounters.
Yep.
But always you wake up unconscious in some area. It's like, if a supposed to lose fight, that's when you can do a cinematic that I'm not going to be pissed at.
Yeah, I always liked how JRPGs, like the old JRPGs, handled it, because there were fights that you were supposed to lose, and that
it's very obvious
that they don't end in a game over screen. For example, I think Lufia has that one of the Sinistrals you're supposed to lose to. Or like in old Final Fantasy games, there are fights that you are supposed to lose. And it was very obvious because
every old JRPG where the first thing is, that's the boss of the game. You start the fight, your entire team gets one shot, and you wake up after being unconscious. That's pretty much all of them.
Yeah, they all have that. But you know what they also all have? They all have an Easter egg when you beat the fight. And you can actually overtrain to the point where you can beat that fight that usually would one-shot you. Lufia has it, all the Final Fantasies have it.
I'm thinking of
And
Golden
I've always
Sun.
done that.
I'm thinking of Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advanced, and I'm like, there's no way you could farm to beat that fight in Golden Sun 1.
Not reasonably, but if you have 100 hours, just to throw away as like some dude who's just still in school, like I was back in the day, you can, like in Lufia, when you want to beat that guy, you have to like overfarm so
What
much.
is the most embarrassing grind you've ever done in a video game?
I think I can't answer your question due to ambulance.
Okay, the question, and Chad can answer this question too. What is your personal most embarrassing grind you have ever done in a video game that you did and you shouldn't have done, and you're ashamed of it?
I definitely know mine.
What is it?
It is Final Fantasy VII actually, and I leveled to max level on the first disc, and it has 3 discs.
What?
I wanted to try see what happens. So I leveled to max level on the first disc of Final Fantasy VII, and I was like, because there's a character who dies at the end of the first disc. I don't know if you ever played, but Aerith is one of the characters. Major spoilers, by the way, if you haven't played this 20-year-old game. And yeah, I wanted to see what happens if you like max level her and get her last limit break as well, and all that kind of stuff. So I just actually leveled to max level in Final Fantasy VII.
What?
But in hindsight, that's a huge waste of time because you don't actually get anything for it. The game was piss easy after that. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Really, you grinded to the max level 1/3 through the game, and it was easy.
Yeah,
really?
it was.
Wow,
yeah,
that insight that you have
it
there.
might come as a surprise to you, but it actually was pretty easy after that. But yeah, what was yours? Did you ever grind to a point where you're like, in hindsight, you're like, I shouldn't have done that. It was just a waste of time.
You're familiar with World of Warcraft?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, you know when they released the achievements?
That was pretty early on, though, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm familiar with it then.
Wrath of the Lich King, just the patch before Wrath of the Lich King is when we got the achievements. I have the insane title.
What does it do?
Before it was modified.
What does it do?
What
do you get?
Okay,
for?
so the original requirements, I think they've changed it. You needed to be exalted in all of the goblin factions. You needed to be revered by the Buccaneers. You needed to be exalted in basically every single faction, including Dark Moon Fair, the raid ones that didn't exist. You needed to be revered with the Ravenhold, which you had to have a rogue and pickpocket for days. It took me 6 months of herb farming to turn in Dark Moon sets. And this was before they removed, I think, there was an elven faction that was related to like UBRS or whatever.
I don't know names. I just played a little bit of World of Warcraft, but I never actually got into the game much.
Yeah, it takes hundreds and hundreds of hours I gave up a summer to get it.
Let's see what Chad has to say about some of the most embarrassing grinds Chad ever did. Final Fantasy X complete 100% everything. I actually did that as well, but that was actually pretty fun to do in my opinion. 300 hours save file. I have like 220 for that. So that's I've done that, and that's not as bad as what I also did. You are disqualified.
In Boktai 2, I couldn't figure out a puzzle, so I leveled up to 60 plus in a level 15 zone.
Okay.
Yeah, the Shindrala faction.
Yeah, 12 hours duo bossing in Maple Story. I actually played Maple Story as well, and yeah, Maple Story is one of the bullshittiest grinding games ever. Like, you know when you're in Path of Exile and you're like, oh, I'm level like 80, 98, 99, or you watch someone else and he's like, I can get 20% today. In Maple Story, you grind hours for 0 point something percent. And that is not even, you're not even close to the max level. You're like,
I had a
of
level 670 something in Dark Souls 1 without using the duping mechanic.
That is also ridiculous.
That is, if you think Path of Exile level 100 is insane, to not use a dupe for Dark Souls 1 level 670, it's a lot of playtime for not much reward because your stats don't increase significantly past 50. but I wanted to get 99 in all my stats.
Nice. Or
I
talking
will
about
say, Artorias Greatsword, when you're spotting 90 strength, 90 dex, 90 faith, 90 intelligence, one shots a lot of people.
that, yeah, I
And
wouldn't
then
expect that.
your ninja flipping one hand Artorias, Havel's Great Shield, full Havel set.
You got all the stats, so you can wear all the equipment. By the way, I'm not the only one. Demon Eyes just said in chat he leveled Ares to max level as well, and he refused to play Final Fantasy VII for me because she died, and he couldn't avoid her death.
No, I can beat this fight. I have the stats. There is no excuse.
Yeah, no, it's not a fight. It's just a cutscene after a fight where she just gets killed. And usually, when someone dies in the game, you can revive them with revive items, but not at that time.
I hate that in games like, oh, the character died. I have an inventory of revive items. Why is that dead guy more dead than the other dead guys?
Yeah, there's like dead and there's like in combat dead. But if he dies out of combat, he's dead. That totally makes sense, right?
I hate video games doing that.
Yeah,
I like permadeath video games. Fire
Yeah.
Emblem, great game. Actually, I didn't like the most recent Fire. Have
Yeah,
you
I played-
played Fire Emblem? It's Yoji.
No, I played a similar game called Disgaea back in the day that also had
Okay.
perma-death of non-story characters. Story characters could not die because the story was... This was a very story-driven game. It's like anime style.
Okay, yeah.
It's hilarious. This is probably the game with the most like well-presented...
Well, Fire
humor
Emblem kind of does that
I've
because
ever
it's not hugely story based, but if a character related to the story dies, it's game over. But
okay.
everyone else is permadeath.
Yeah, for in Disgaea it was like when like you can create extra characters for your cast because you were like a demon king dude and you can like actually generate people if you really want to.
Decent.
And they can have different classes. And if they die, they die. But if I'm pretty sure, yeah, if your story characters die, it's not game over. But if all of them die, it's game over. But if there only one dies in a fight, then you can continue on, I think.
All right. I'm intrigued.
The game this is also an insane grinding game. It's like probably one of the most grindy single player games I've ever seen in my life. You can grind everything in that game. You can grind the characters' levels, then you can de-level them. They keep some of the stats, and you can grind them to max level again. You can do that with every single item in the game. You can go into an item, and every item has 100 fights in them. Every item you find, and you can complete the stages within the item to level up the item to plus 100.
That is there a advantage? Like, is there a bullshit boss
Yes.
to fight with those stats, or because a lot of the games, and one thing that I like about Dark Souls, you can get so much stats, and you're like, oh my god, but you always just cheese everything. You're like,
Yes.
fuck you, one shot. Fuck you, one shot.
That game was actually really difficult. So it's even during the story progression, if you never actually grind your items, and you're not insanely good at strategy games, you probably get in trouble at some point. I never beat the game as well. It's just way too long and way too much grind.
Like Fire Emblem is a really fun game, but it's a little bit easy on the stats because it's a little bit rock paper scissors. You know, spears are good against spears are good against swords. Swords are good against axes. Axes good against spears, and then there's a magic circle, and then there's some other things. But it's all a game about you put one character in the wrong position. When you're weak to something, you're really weak to something.
So
if you have, like, a
weaknesses actually make
Pegasus
a
Knight,
difference.
Yeah, you'll have like a Pegasus Knight that you accidentally put in the wrong position, and then a character's like, oh, I'm on Arbalest. Congratulations, I can shoot over the entire map. One shot, you're max level Pegasus Knight with all your investment. You're like, oh, dear God.
Well, too bad I clicked on that on that character to go there.
It's not a lacrosse ball, it's an orange.
Crossball. Yeah, we're playing crossball later on this podcast as well.
Oh, yeah. So,
I got a beer bottle. Once it's empty, I can use it like as a bat or something.
excellent. Is lacrosse big in Germany?
No,
Didn't
it's not.
think
I actually
so.
have one girl I studied with. She played lacrosse, and that's how I actually know the
What it
rules
is.
of it, what it is, and like what these weird net things are and how that works. I'm like, what is this stuff? And she's like,
It's
that's
a
lacrosse.
brutal sport.
Yeah, I've not come across that ever before that, and never after again. Basically, the sports we have here is mainly soccer, aka football, and then some basketball and handball, but that's like really, really small. And then even smaller than that, some very little ice hockey.
Very little.
That's all. Baseball, American football, for example, mainly doesn't exist. Oh, rugby is actually starting to get bigger. Rugby, these like on a watch it live because it's actually pretty fun to watch live level. But that's kind of all.
Over here, I've noticed in Portugal, it seems to basically be beach volleyball
Beach volleyball.
and football. European, obviously. You know, who's surprised on that one?
Yeah. Beach volleyball is cool. I've actually played, like, the only sport I ever actually played, like, I wouldn't say call it competitively, but I, like, tried a little bit. not like, solely play it for fun, was volleyball. Because surprisingly, being tall is pretty good at volleyball.
It is. Spiking over the net works.
Yep. And
Were you good at spiking? Do you know what that is?
Spiking? I don't know. I only know the German words for all the things, so I don't know.
Fair enough. The jump hit.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Also, like blocking is pretty good. I would assume that's what it's called.
Probably. I don't know.
No,
It was
blocking. Something like
the
this.
school that I went to.
Avoiding the
Volleyball
enemy
was huge, and it was
from
really
getting
irritating. Like really, really irritating at how big our particular school liked volleyball because we were good at it for whatever reason. Probably because nobody else cared.
Yeah. Isn't Germany good in ski sports? Oh, that is actually true. Yeah, all this winter sports stuff, but I never do that. I never watch that. But I know that that's actually pretty popular here, but not in the... I know my grandparents, both sides, watch it. And also, like, horse riding stuff is also really, really popular here. But also, like, my other grandparents watch that as well.
Do you ski or snowboard?
I used to skateboard a lot, and I tried snowboarding once, and I had to find out that there were some major differences in snowboarding and skateboarding that caused you to fall over and
turns
eat a
out
lot
your
of snow.
feet are stuck to the board, and it's not an optional difference.
No, it's actually that you you don't have wheels. I mean, surprise! But that actually makes the big difference because what I also did, I took a skateboard deck and put that on snow and like
Oh no!
on that. That is actually pretty easy because that feels like skateboarding. But so the thing with snowboarding is that you snowboard on the edges of the board, right?
Yes.
And on the skateboard, you take the middle, and that was the big difference. So because if you try to steer, you have to like slide from one edge to the other. And if you try to steer like you're used to as a skateboarder, you shovel a lot of snow on your board and fall over. And I had that happen quite a few times before I realized, hey, that's not how it works. Because I had no instructor or anything. I was like, hey, I know how to skateboard. I know how this works.
What city do I live? Near Setúbal. No, but so you enjoyed it? Question mark.
After I found out how it works, it was pretty fun. Yeah, we were like for an extended weekend. We were snowboarding and skiing, and everyone else was basically skiing. I was snowboarding, but I had a lot of fun snowboarding.
Snowboarding's a lot of fun. I snowboard. I don't ski. Turns out, not much snowboarding in Portugal. You know, might surprise you.
Is there any surfing going on in Portugal?
I would assume so. I don't surf. I don't like the water.
Ah, okay.
Fuck water. Yeah, everyone there's like, yeah, come to the beach. I just like sit in the beach, burning because I'm pale as shit, and I'm like, this is horrible. I'm dying.
Yeah, I'm actually like usually if I actually get into the sun, I'm not that pale, which is pretty interesting because I have dark hair, like a dark type of person.
Fair
I don't
enough.
get sunburns
Yeah.
pretty easily.
I don't tan. I just burn like just horribly.
My roommate is also
burn.
he's like so pale. He's just like we go outside. I'm like a little bit of a skin tan, and he gets red. It's pretty awesome.
Terrible.
Yeah.
We've been at this for about an hour. Is that a good time?
I mean, if we're running out of things to talk about,
I don't know. I don't know what your schedule is. I have an orange that I'm staring at.
I would say like 40 more minutes. I would.
All right,
if
keep
you still have
going.
an orange.
Keep going. I'm going to you talk about something. I'm going to molest this orange with my teeth.
Ooh. No, this is too distracting. I can't. I can't talk while I see this. But yeah, I think those are like nerd going outside problems. Same with going to the gym. Because like before I went to the gym, I always was very. I think a lot of people have that you go to the gym, and I'm like not very. I don't know. I'm like a little bit chubby, and I don't look like a person who goes to the gym. So when I first started to go to the gym, I was like, okay, I guess a lot of people would be like, oh, what's this guy doing here? But once you go to the gym, you will find out nobody gives a shit. Everyone is just there for themselves, and they don't care about anyone else around there. Maybe with the
not
exception for
true.
some of the hot girls.
That's mostly true. Men don't care about other men.
Yeah.
Ask any woman who goes to the gym
Oh, yeah,
how
that's true.
much attention they get.
That's what I said. Like that's maybe the only exception. But as I happen to be a guy, nobody even sees me.
Are you sure? I don't have proof. Where's your birth certificate?
Let's change the topic. No. Oh, Azu is here. Hey, Azu Zara. We actually have a girl now here who can maybe.
No such thing. No
the
such thing.
one girl we have on the internet.
There is none.
But yeah,
I like running.
you like running.
Yeah,
I don't know.
running.
I recently started running a little bit about like on a cross trainer thing in the gym. I don't like running outside in Berlin because running outside in Berlin is horrible.
Why is it horrible to run outside in Berlin? What's wrong with that?
Too many
Running
traffic
in
lights. You
Berlin?
can't really actually get a run going if you like live somewhere in the center, because you will always have to stop. I hate stopping while running. I like running, but I don't like stopping.
Do you not have like a park near you?
There's like a park near the castle, I guess, but that's like so full of tourists that it's not a good idea to run there, I think.
Ah, do you hate tourists?
I don't hate tourists, but I try to avoid being around them.
Why is that?
I don't know, it's just like these huge groups. They're usually very loud and take a lot of photos. And I don't know.
I get stared at so much in Portugal. It's kind of amusing. I kind of stand out.
You're not this stereotypical Portuguese person. What is this?
Who would have known?
Yeah, I had that when I was. Where was I? I think it was in Turkey because I'm really tall and people in Turkey were like all on average they're pretty small. So if you're like two heads above everyone else, this is pretty funny. Like that's the number one German vacation country, I think.
Turkey.
Yeah, maybe not anymore. Maybe Spain is now winning.
What's in Turkey? Just nice weather?
I think it's nice weather. I went there for like during school time. We took a trip with like the whole class to Turkey because one of our teachers used to teach German and English in Turkey, and he had connections, so we could sleep there very cheaply. And yeah, we visited Troy and some other things. That was pretty cool. We were like very far off the tourist spot. Like the next city was, I don't know, I think like 200 kilometers away. Like
Well, I hate tourist locations, and what I mean by that is a location in another country that's designed to just be United States, and it's just like, why?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, Turkey has that as well. They have a lot of places where it's just like you come there and you feel like you're in Germany. People even speak German and you can pay with euros. So yeah, it doesn't really feel like going. I don't go to another country to be in a country that tries to pretend they are my country.
Yeah.
That doesn't. It's maybe funny for a day to see them trying and probably failing, but or maybe see them like succeeding surprisingly, like doing it surprisingly well because they have a lot of practice. But I don't go there to have that.
Yeah, I was invited to go to Fashion Cafe, or not the Fashion Cafe, sorry, the Hard Rock Cafe in Lisbon, Lisboa.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, sure, why not? I don't care. I've seen this before.
It's the same in every place, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been in the Hard Rock Cafe in Prague, which was pretty cool? Because the people there were just like way more like, I don't know, like laid back. The atmosphere was really good. It was not as much like organized as the other ones that I've been to. And I've been to a lot of Hard Rock Cafes. So that was probably like the only one that was a bit different. Everything else was like exactly the same.
Trying to think.
But yeah. That was like the only Hard Rock Cafe. Otherwise, other than that, it's always the same. Oh, we had something really funny happen on that Turkey trip. So we went to this like hotel, I don't know, motel at the end of the road, weird thing where everyone had like a bungalow and everything was very, very Spartanic and like not very. I think it was like very cheap, but it was like only 10 meters from the beach, which was pretty cool. But it also was not a tourist beach. It was the very rocky beach. They had like, what do you call these things? Like these sea hedgehogs is what we call them in German. Like these balls of spikes, basically.
Sea hedge, an anemone?
Emony? Is that they call emonies? The German word is actually literally translated as sea hedgehogs. Because
sea urchins?
They're like round and they just have spikes in all directions. And if you touch them, it burns for a while. So it was not a very nice beach to swim at. It was not a tourist beach. But it was a beach, so you could lie there and pretend you could go into the water if you wanted to, but you actually couldn't. And the cool part, the weird part about that was when the first day we got food, and then we were told there would be like some cool Turkish stuff, because there was like an old like Turkish grandma and a Turkish mother cooking for us, like because that was like an old like family business. And we were really excited to see that. And the first day we got rice, spaghetti, and ketchup. We were like, what is this? Okay, let's not be unfriendly.
Wait, spaghetti and ketchup.
Let's not be unthankful guests. We will see what comes next day. So next day we got really horrible potatoes and really, really horrible schnitzel. And the ketchup wasn't even good. The ketchup was very, very like watery and Dan's game ketchup. Okay, at that point we were like, okay. We had one guy who knew a little bit of Turkish in our class, so we went to like the people cooking. We were like, hey, we don't want to be unfriendly or anything. We are just really enjoying it here, but what is with the food? just like very neutral, not criticizing. It's just like, what is with the food? And they were like, oh yeah, the last class that our teacher brought there, like the year before, they were not happy with the Turkish food, so they tried to cook for us more like German food. So what we got was the horrible attempt of a Turkish grandma and ma trying to imitate what they think is German food.
I'm just rice, spaghetti, and ketchup.
I don't know what. And I was like, okay. And they were like, okay, you know what? Just cook whatever awesome Turkish food you can cook, what you actually know how to make. And we will probably eat it. And next day we got the most amazing Turkish food ever. We got like all the awesome stuff. We got like, I don't know, fried vegetables of all
rice,
sorts.
spaghetti, and ketchup.
It was amazing. Like the rest of the trip, like the other 10 days or so, we ate amazing Turkish food, and everyone was happy. It was awesome. No more rice and spaghetti and ketchup.
Portuguese food is great. I've had choco frito, pastel de nata, and that's all I want for the rest of my life.
Nice.
It's so good. But Mediterranean people think they eat healthy. They are lying. Mediterranean food is not healthy.
Yeah, it's usually like a lot of, I don't know, like a lot of like dough stuff with something in it.
Yeah.
Which is not healthy.
And it's a lot of oil. They like their oil.
Oh yeah, a lot of oil.
Not fried. Some of the time.
Not always fried, but sometimes.
Just sprinkle oil on everything.
Also baking things, I think, is very Mediterranean. Like putting something in the oven, like stuff.
Yes, like stone
stuff like that.
Pancakes. Pancakes are great.
I don't think is there anyone...
That's not Mediterranean. That's definitely not
anyone who doesn't like pancakes, though? It's like, I think it's one of the most universal foods ever.
Yeah. Fairly fucking old food.
Yep. I mean, you can also make everything with pancakes. You can make them with everything, basically.
I like pancakes. I make good pancakes. I have few culinary talents.
Pancakes is one of them.
Is pancakes.
Nice. That's pretty good. Yeah, my sister cannot really... She can cook fairly well, but not great, but her pancakes are the best.
That's all you need, though. As long as you can cook one thing well to impress somebody.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's all about the first impression. After that, doesn't matter.
Then they assume you have other skills.
Yep.
Mistakes were made.
Right. Do we have anything else on the topic list? Do we have a topic list?
I don't think so. I think we kind of finished it. We want to talk about monster design, which we kind of did.
Yeah, a little bit. We touched on it at least. Pretty good.
I think we touched on before the podcast people not understanding that you can play a video game differently, because it is in fact a video game.
Oh yeah, we actually touched on that, but we didn't. I think we got distracted, and suddenly we are talking about pancakes. Yeah. What's really like surprising to me is like that people always like in the games I play, Path of Exile and Dark Souls at the moment. It's like the games I mostly stream. Darkest Dungeon has that as well a little bit.
Little bit. But there's so little options.
Not only do they like to like try to help you with like tips and stuff, because those games are difficult and they try to give you tips when you're like failing, which I think is kind of like okay. It's a I think a reflex or like
they're trying to help.
Yeah, trying to help is one thing. It gets a bit annoying if you ask for no spoilers and no help. But the other part is that people also do not see that you might have different goals than them. Because when I make a build, my goal is not to reach level 100 very fast, for example, or not reach it at all. Maybe not even 90. Maybe my goal is to reach level 60 and do a proof of concept. And yeah, people don't seem to
Oh man,
understand that.
Path of Exile does not understand proof of concept.
Nope. They definitely don't.
It's like, hey, look at this interaction, but you're just doing this. Oh my god, it's just to show the interaction because I don't want to play it.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes even like testing the interaction if it actually works as the wording suggests. Because sometimes it sounds like it would work, but in Path of Exile, the days where wording is 100% true all the time are long, long gone. I think that was 1.0.
Yeah. Well, I really wish that GGG would do the Magic the Gathering style, where there's a bold or a font color or something to say a keyword is being used.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they are not consistent with their keywords.
Yeah, I think that they just started to do it like a little bit with the I think recently is always 4 seconds, right? That was one of the things they
that
just
was
added.
one of the things they
I think
did.
if they start doing that with like where nearby is always the same radius or like stuff like that, I think that would be pretty
Nearby is not always the same
Yeah,
radius.
it's not always the same, but I think it would be cool if they started to do that, where they had like nearby or some keyword that tells you that's like about screen size radius, or if it's like enemies around you is maybe like 2 screens wide radius, and they would kind of make sense of that.
It would be nice if we could see the radius on a lot of things. Like if I wanted to toggle on an option for a skill, so that let's say when I use my aura, I can get a ring on the map.
That would be interesting, yeah, but probably performance issues and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Showing
they can't
that
do
ring.
fucking shocked ground.
Except for blasphemy, I kind of would like to know how far my blasphemy curses range. At least like have an option. Maybe like if you hover over the skill.
Do
on
what
your
I
skill
do.
bar.
Make sure your blasphemy range is the entire screen, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. I don't know if you saw Ziggy's recent rip analysis. He died to a on the solo self-found ice trapper. He died to I think it's bazaar bosses, the 3 ribbons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think he did like double boss of them, so like he had like a lot of aura stacking and stuff. And one of them started to charge outside of his blasphemy enfeeble range, so it snapshotted the non-enfeeble charge, and it was the one with powerful crits, and he hit him for like 2.5k or something, 5.2k or something.
Okay, yeah, because I did see his death, but I don't think I saw the analysis of
He
it.
just put it up a few days ago. I just like randomly clicked on it today, and it was pretty interesting. That's kind of like one of the applications where you're like, okay, if something starts charging outside of that range, I should be careful. That would be something nice to know. And I think what they could do, maybe they could make it so that when you hover over the skill on your skill bar, it temporarily shows, but it's not on all the time. So you can't like toggle it on to be always on. But at least you can get an idea. Right now, you just have to run around, like kite a mob around to see, okay, it's above this range, maybe.
And there's
Which
even
I
the
actually
problem
sometimes
because when a mob gets into range, if you've noticed, like if you use something like Flicker or when you're running really, really fast, they don't get cursed instantly.
Yeah, that's
Have
also
you noticed that?
Yeah, the curse sign appears like fades in, and I don't know if they are cursed the moment it starts fading in,
Yeah.
or if they are cursed when it's like finished the animation. Is it only an animation, or is there like an in between? We don't know. It's all voodoo magic at this point.
Fucking voodoo magic.
But yeah, to go back to the how you play the game thing, it's like in game design, it's actually like a very widespread and very commonly used tool that people use to like analyze what types of players might play their games and how to change the game people design to cater to different players and in different aspects of their game. For example, like what do I have to change in my game to make it interesting for people who like just like to dick around and chat with others. You know those people in World of Warcraft who just sit on the marketplace all day and chat? This is like an actual type of players. They're called socializers because they don't play the game for the actual game, but they play the game for talking to their guildmates.
Which is why
Hosting.
Path of Exile needs to do a better job with its social tools so that people can be more involved in the community rather than the community just being like a network of information.
Yeah, for example. At the moment, I think Path of Exile is mostly catering to people either trying to achieve things, who are like achievement hunting, trying to raise, getting to 100, making powerful characters, showing them their boss kills to others. That's like one big part of the PoE community. And I think another a little bit smaller one, but still a pretty big one, is people who just want to experiment with the game mechanics, the vast possibilities the game has to offer, and make interesting builds and explore the game, abuse it, find bugs, find
Just dick
mechanics.
around. And I think there needs to be a couple more dick around tools,
That would be
like
cool, yeah.
something other than maps that isn't just dried like over and over again.
Yeah, something to test things more, like test things better, like a little bit more like sandboxy elements maybe, where you can actually like test stuff and maybe choose your difficulty a little bit more, other than like I'm running a tier 6 or tier 5 map, blue, white, yellow.
Yeah.
Would be cool. And also if the whole game system would be a
One
little bit more
thing that
documented.
I hear commonly is people wanting like DPS test dummies. What are your thoughts?
I mean, if it's not difficult to implement, I think it would be cool. I mean, if people want that, I know they have that in a lot of MMOs where just I have somewhere random
Do you
stat.
really want to see every build guide being, look what I can do
Look what I can do to this
to
dummy.
a stationary dummy?
I mean, yeah, it would just change the point from tooltip away from tooltip and to, hey, look what is the biggest number you can get out of this dummy, basically. That's kind of what it
See,
is.
I always like discovery in ARPGs. And Path of Exile, the discovery elements are not like Dark Souls when you discover something. It's like, oh, I have a hidden wall item, check
Yeah,
out the stats. Path of Exile discovery is like, okay, so I the information is not there in the game where it should be, and after long testing of checking, like, all right, the mob died this fast, SRS probably does about this much base DPS.
but that is actually fun to some people.
Sure, but there's a lot of conditions to that.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
it would be nice if there was more discoverability with actual interactions rather than just being like, I can get a slightly higher number.
That's definitely true.
It's lacking that type of discoverability. Favorite builds in Path of Exile and why? From I Live This Life With You. What's your favorite? It's Yoji right now.
I don't really have favorite builds. That's the problem. I never really do. There are a lot of builds that I made in the past that I loved playing while I played them, but I never would play them again.
I have the same shitty answer. There's a reason I'm not playing the build again because I tried it and I want to do something else.
Yeah, that's kind of the same for me. But and that's I think because we have like very similar reasons to play the game. We are
Yeah,
both like experimenting with the
we
game.
want to do a thing.
Yeah.
That is the extent. If it fails, I did the thing till it failed.
Yeah, if I couldn't make it work, it's a thing I couldn't make work, and it goes onto my list of things I couldn't make work. Maybe if they changed the tools for whatever build I tried and failed with.
What's the most surprising build that you thought would be mediocre and turned out to be pleasant?
The range attack totem character definitely. Elemental split arrow range attack totems. I played that to 90 in hardcore, and
Nice.
I did high tier maps with that. I did Hall of Grandmasters and didn't die. I did all wings and I
But did
just
you
couldn't kill
complete it?
something.
Did you complete it?
I didn't complete. I couldn't kill the. As I said earlier, I couldn't kill the Aegis Aura characters, so I had to just
Yeah,
leave
he's
at
he's
some
kind
point.
of a dick.
But yeah, I didn't actually die. The character wasn't very. The defenses of this character was it has totems, and
Yeah.
it has 6k life. That was the defenses. That was pre ascendancy as well. And yeah, that character was surprisingly good. I thought it would be complete garbage, but it was pretty good. I actually made that character. I actually made twice because the first one died at 72, and at that point it was actually so good that I was like, okay, I want to know what this is like at level 85 plus.
I think the worst times to die when you're doing a conceptual thing is when they die between like the 65 and like 75 point because you're just
Yep.
like, you were all the leveling work was done. I was just about ready
Yes.
to actually see what it can do, and you fucking died.
That is definitely the worst. It's like, okay, I leveled as, I don't know, Flame Blast for 65 levels. I transitioned 2 levels ago and I'm almost where I want this build to be eventually. Guess I died. But then you could actually say like, okay, if you're trying to make a concept word, why play hardcore? The reason for that is because I couldn't play softcore, but I can definitely see a good point being made that doing what I do in hardcore is not a good idea overall
No,
if you don't
that's
want to
part of
waste
the
time.
fun.
But it's just more fun to me.
Yeah. What was it?
What did you play? I think the DD Trapper actually worked out
The
better than I
DD
thought.
Trapper was so fun to kill bosses.
Yep.
Like, there is very, very few things in Path of Exile more satisfying than being like corpse, 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 boom!
Nice.
And it's like, oh, shock to ground, crit multi-double malformation boss. I guess I'll do that because it's not a challenge.
Yeah, it's not a challenge if it dies before it attacks you.
Yeah, and then the malformation, when it dies, its corpse gets DD'd onto the second malformation. So...
Oh yeah, right. Your double boss is actually
Yeah.
easier. That's pretty cool. That is pretty damn cool.
So it was... Like, there was only one boss that ended up being annoying, but... Village Rune, any of that stuff, it was just like, so much fun. Azuzara is saying they're enjoying the podcast. Is there going to be more of it in the future? What do you think, it's Yoji?
Right now I'm having fun, so I'm guessing we're probably gonna make a second one
That
from
seems
my
possible.
side. If unless you're like, nah, that was shit.
Do you want to try again next Saturday?
Weekly? No, now this is a bit try hard, maybe.
We're
We will see. I'll check what I
All
have
right.
planned.
There is a
If we even have
possibility
things to talk about.
that a podcast may or may not happen at some point in time that we may or may not know.
Yep.
And I think that might be a reasonable point to end it.
I'm out of beer, so I think that's a pretty good point to end this
That
episode.
if we are out of beer, now it is a must. So I will say something, which is everybody can fuck off. But since it's going on to It's Yoji's YouTube, he probably wants a nicer ending, so he can have fun with that right now.
No, I'm fine with that.